Hey everybody, happy Thanksgiving to those of you who celebrate it. And I just want to say happy holidays as we move into this holiday season. For somebody out there who needs to hear this, I mean, look, 2020 has been quite the year. I just wanted to tell you that if you don't like how things are right now, then you can change it. You're not a tree. You're not stuck where you are right now. You can change. You can get better. Things can get better. Just remember that, y'all. Things can get better. All right, really quickly, before I jump into this vocal tip, I do just want to extend a sale to my YouTube community that I'm having right now. Both of my downloadable courses, the Functional Vocal Warm-Up, which is 7 vocal exercises that you can do every day to help sing with more efficiency, is on sale. And also my latest course called Mixed Voice Masterclass, which is really my life's work thus far on building and developing your mixed voice, is also on sale. Lastly, I'm doing something that I've never done before. I'm heavily discounting my single lesson. So if you've ever wanted to study one-on-one with me, or you just feel like you need an expert ear to help guide you along, now could be a great opportunity for you. If you're interested in any of those, I have links down below in the description. All right, so today I want to talk about a couple things. One being vocal tract stability as a good starting point for your technique, and then also just balancing pressure and flow along with that. Because here's the thing, you can't separate your resonator from your vibrator, and vice versa. You can't separate the chords from the resonator. It's a non-linear system we're really starting to find out. They impact each other. So we have to have ways of going about both these things. First thing that I want you to do is let's play around with the vocal tract stability, and even you could think of it as just tone building. This is a way you can play around with different timbres. So if I just whisper to you and I say, "Hey, how's it going?" like this, right? And I put my hand on my larynx here. "Hey, how's it going?" My larynx comes up just a little bit. Or if I say, "He, it's kind of a bright, twangy sound when I do that, because when the larynx comes up, the pharyngeal walls narrow. Okay, now if to compare and contrast in our mind, if we go the opposite end of the spectrum and I say, and I'm kind of like shoving my larynx down, perceptually at least, that to me isn't good for anything. It feels very oropharyngeal, and my tongue is definitely backed up and pushed down in my throat. Under here, I could feel all that pushing down. So I don't like it's useful as negative practice to know that that is not the direction we want to go, especially when we're playing around with trying to get more warmth or depth in our sound. That is not the way to do it. So instead of doing the which feels very front of the mouth, if you can center that noisy part of the whisper kind of in the center of your mouth, kind of up at the dome of the hard palate, right there. And if I put my hand on my larynx, my larynx is completely neutral. It's not shoving down and it's not going up. It's just staying where it's at. And then you find that place so you can kind of just inflect up. Inflect up in your range like this, okay? Now, as you're inflecting up in your range, you may be going and changing everything, right? And again, we're just looking for a starting point. I'm not saying you have to be rigid with this. We're just looking for a kind of home base to start from. Then we could push it this way a little bit or this way a little, and that's totally fine. But I think the thing that most people struggle with is just finding this starting place of equilibrium right in the middle. So sometimes I like people to think of these affects, if you will, to help stabilize this shape we found on the bottom. So a couple of them that I've been using is one kind of thinking a little mischievous. just like this. And you notice my mouth isn't really changing. I allow the sound to escape the confines of my mouth, perceptually at least, as it was trying to chase it up like this. Another one you can play around with is if someone was walking outside on the sidewalk and they fell down and you're like, oh my gosh, are they okay? And you're concerned. That's a really good one, and that a lot of people love the concerned affect. And then the other one that I really like to use is if you think that if you have a really big secret and the person you're trying to keep the secret from walks in the room and you're holding on that secret, and then just inflect up your range while maintaining that expressive affect. And doing that is huge because it helps to stabilize the shape instead of trying to micromanage everything, like keep your larynx here, put your tongue here, do all these things. That's like too many things to think about. But if you can allow this affect to micromanage all those things, if you will, that's a much better way to go. Now, applying this into the context of a song, well, the next thing I want to talk about is pressure and flow. Because the worst thing you can do is just start air blasting and just pushing way too much air as you're going higher. You don't need to do that. So I'm going to show you something that I have showed you in several videos, but it's because it works. And it's not always about learning new things. Sometimes it's about most of the times, it's about being reminded of things we already know. Okay, so if I use this puffy cheek, and I just establish this kind of middle place. I'm not too loud, I'm not too soft, I'm just in the middle, and I slide up an octave. Fall on your knees. Oh, hear the angel voices. So that right there, I'm starting with the presupposition that I'm trying to maintain that shape. Whether you're using the feeling of mischief or concern or like you're holding on to a big secret, you have to train that into your voice and you have to train that into your mentality so that as you're singing higher, you're not deviating from that shape too much. The goal is not rigidity, but again, it's just a place to start from. And then I'm trying to find this place in the middle in terms of pressure and flow. Because if I'm doing too light, that's not really where I want to end up for this song. But if I go too full, it's just like, it's a little much, to where I don't feel that I could sing much higher if that's my strategy, no matter what shape I'm keeping. So this is why these things go hand in hand together. We have to make sure pressure and flow is balanced, but we also want to keep a consistent poise to the vocal tract. Not rigidity, but poise. So then finding something in the middle. Middle, fall on your knees. Oh, hear the angel voices. Oh, night divine, oh, night. You get the idea. Of course, I have to sing a Christmas song because we're moving into Christmas time. It's my favorite time of the year, y'all. But I digress. Those two tips, managing pressure and flow and learning how to keep a relatively stable vocal tract shape, those can go a long way in your overall vocal technique, but definitely learning to sing in your mixed voice and definitely learning to sing higher. No matter what genre of music we're singing, whether it's classical pop, rock, musical theater, I really think everybody could benefit and does benefit by learning to turn the voice. Learning to get that that thing to happen, where I'm not I'm not getting stuck, I'm not pulling, I'm not reaching. Yeah, we want to allow that voice to turn over, okay, and getting that feeling, and then from there, then we can open up. We can do other things. You know, so I sing this song. I just wanna take someone else's holiday. So when I sing that, like, I'm not trying to be overly covered or overly dark or whatever, because it's a rock song, okay? So I'm gonna be a little bit brighter, a little bit more open. It just fits, at least in my mental perception, how the song should be, how I want it to be. But it feels very mixy still. It feels very comfortable, very sustainable. I can sing the entire song through. When I hit all the 3 choruses, it's not that big of a deal if I approach it that way. That's just to show you that it doesn't always have to be you know, you can open up a little bit, yeah, but still be in this mixy position. But yes, these 2 things, these are huge: balancing pressure and flow and maintaining a laryngeal stability, or really just a vocal tract stability or poise, without focusing on your larynx directly, because that to me is a trap. If you're trying to push your larynx down, you're trying to hold your larynx down by yawning or doing these things. I mean, look, I say leave the yawning for the sleepy. Let's find let's find an expression and emotion that we use in everyday life that's exciting, and then communicate that and embed that into your sound when you're singing, because that's what singing is anyways, right? It's expressing feeling through sound. So I really hope that this tip is helpful, and I really do hope that it helps a ton of you out there. If you did like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit subscribe to my channel so you'll be notified when I release more videos just like this one. And just remember, for things to get better, you have to get better. For things to change, you have to change. Success is not something that's achieved. It's something that is attracted. And it's attracted by the person you become. Success is looking for a good place to stay. Remember that as we head in to this holiday season and we close out the craziest year of our lives probably, and just know that things can get better for you. All right, y'all. Until next time.